Hey folks, I'm Rupali, your host, and welcome back to Crime Hack. When Sandy was captured the last time, he realized that the gang leader is hell bent on killing him and his brother. However, he manages to escape and also warns Raj to stay away. He also finds out that the gang is using a cave somewhere for a hideout and also that they are clearing debris in the tunnels to make an escape route. Soon after, Sandy discovers the identity of a few gang members, but Raj gets captured by the goons. Turns out that the boys had so far been grappling with the chili powder gang, which was responsible for the temple thefts across the state. Their father, ACP Nayak, had been leading the task force to capture the gang, so the gang has kidnapped Raj to use him as leverage. When one of the goons, Tushar, tries to help Raj, he gets pushed off a cliff by another goon, Teja. Fortunately, Tushar gets saved by Sandy and friends, so he helps them out by showing the route to the cave. The boys then succeed in rescuing Raj. But while he says he's okay, he collapses to the ground. And now, Nayak Brothers and the Mystery of the Catacombs Tunnels by Rupali Rajapathe Roti, Part 52. The boys helped him up, and Raj gave a spurt of nervous laughter. Guess my legs lacked blood circulation for some time. He had been bound quite tightly, as was evident from the welts all over his body. Why don't you lie down for a while? Sandy suggested. Raj looked embarrassed. I'm sorry. Don't be. Sandy was quick in his response. They will be sorry soon. As it is, Dad and his team are on their way here. We can rest till then. After leading the boys up the mountain, Tushar had climbed down for the benefit of Mr. Nayak and his team. When they arrived at the base of the cliff, Tushar brought them up as well. Soon, they all climbed down the rope ladder while Tushar stayed hidden on the precipice of the mountain. While Mr. Nayak got busy with his boys, his team handcuffed the unconscious crooks and then raided the cave. Presently, a policeman brought forward some jewelry wrapped in a piece of cloth. Giving a crisp salute, he said, Sir, I found some loot from the Kolhapur temple. Mr. Nayak nodded and then informed the boys that he had already issued orders to raid the independent house that served as the operation center for the gang, as well as the jewelry shop. Operation center? Jewelry shop? Raj was baffled. Sandy flashed a tired smile at him and then told his father, I'll fill him in, Dad. But when? Raj asked eagerly, and Sandy replied, Patience, Raj. Patience. Even I am dying to tell you, but we have to handle some urgent business right now. There are a lot of people still looking for you out there. Soon the boys climbed out of the cave while Mr. Nayak and his team stayed behind to wind up their work and for the crooks to come around. Raj was eager to see Tushar. Tushar had climbed a tree to hide himself, but when he saw the boys alone, he came to meet them. As soon as Raj set his eyes on Tushar, he hugged him and held him for a long while. Tushar was speechless with emotion. When Raj finally found his voice, he said gratefully, You risked your life for me. Tushar replied, Couldn't help it. And slowly, one by one, everyone started giggling at the response, including Raj. But Tushar still looked troubled and swayed back and forth as if not able to decide whether to stay with this group or to run away. What is it, Tushar? Is something bothering you? Raj asked, concerned. Tushar suddenly grew edgy. This gang was my only hope to save my father. He wringed his hands nervously. I don't know what I'm going to do now. He looked very confused, troubled, and anxious at the same time. Raj put a hand on his shoulder and pacified. You did whatever possible for me up there. Now let me do whatever possible to help you. At first, Tushar looked apprehensive and doubtful, but then slowly his courage returned. The group then split up. While Tushar offered to accompany Raj to the ambulance, Ajay, Sandy, Vinay, and Dev split up to inform the other groups about the mission accomplishment and to still stick to the instructions to keep mum and to keep an eye out for any strangers. An hour later, all the groups gathered together near the now closed restaurant. Raj was overwhelmed to see the crowd that had gathered for his search. An ambulance and Raju Mama had already been called for, and both were waiting for him when the party arrived at the restaurant near the edge of the woods. While Tushar and Ajay accompanied Raj to the hospital, Sandy addressed the crowd this time to thank them all for coming out to help. Sandy also realized that a few may not have had their dinners before rushing to help, so he offered a midnight snack or dinner to those who were hungry. Mr. Nayak had lent him his credit card to take care of the boys who had come for help, as well as the hospital expenses. Everybody looked at their watches. It was almost 2 a.m. A few of them rushed home as they had to attend their colleges in the morning. A few others had their dinner before coming. In the end, only 20 boys accompanied Sandy and Dev to the 24-hour restaurant near the Pune railway station. Tushar had nowhere to go, so it was decided that he would be kept at Ajay's house until the gang was rounded up, and then later he would be shifted to the Nayak residence till the time he was ready to move back with his parents. When Sandy finally reached the hospital, it was already 4 a.m. and Raj was sleeping soundly. As Sandy stood watching him, Raju Mama came up from behind. "What have you kids gotten yourself into?" Mama asked, concerned. A satisfied but weak smile appeared on Sandy's face, and he replied, "Ask Dad all about it." Then, growing serious, he asked, "How is he doing?" "He's fine now. His face won't hurt him bad. But the X-ray and CT scan are both okay. That was my major concern when we brought him in. We have also stitched his shoulder injury, given him drips. He had lost a lot of energy, but not blood, and he was dehydrated as well. But the rope marks all over his body and the cut on his neck." Mama shook his head distastefully. Sandy nodded. "Yeah, I don't know how we are going to hide it from Mom." Mama suddenly grew irritated. "Sandy, hiding it from Mom is more important, or your safety is more important to you? Huh?" Without an answer, Sandy approached Raj, in a way, turning his back to Mama, and made a face. "He's surely going to tell Mom. God, save us." Then a smile appeared on his face as he thought, "God, save Dad more than us." Then he turned to Mama and yawned. "Mama, can I get a bed as well? I mean, if it wouldn't cost more. Dad might kill me for any extra expense." "Why don't you come home and rest there?" Mama offered. "Nah, I want to give Raj a big surprise when he wakes up. I can't miss that chance for the whole world." Saying so, Sandy sprawled on the floor beside Raj's bed. "Let me see if I could arrange for a pillow at least." Saying so, Raju Mama shuffled off, but when he returned with the pillow, Sandy had already gone off to sleep. At exactly 6 a.m., a nurse walked in for the first dose of medication for Raj. As soon as she closed the door behind her, Sandy jumped on the bed with excitement. Clutching Raj by his shoulders, he shook him vigorously and asked, "Do you know what we have done?" Raj said in a controlled voice, "The term is shake well before use, not after." But Sandy was too excited to respond, so he continued, "You know the temple theft case in which the thieves had struck the Kolhapur temple and the Alandi temple?" "Yes, I have read about it in the newspapers." Suddenly a realization struck Raj as he racked his brains. Was it the Kolhapur temple where the crooks had used chili powder? "Tada! We have cracked the temple theft case." Raj was startled. "What? And when did we do that?" he asked, confused. Sandy laughed with satisfaction at the response and then went on to elaborate. "We were actually dealing with the temple thieves all this while. You remember I had found the picture of Lord Ganesha near our ambush site?" Raj nodded. "What we failed to realize was that it was the Dagadu Shet Halwai Ganpati photograph. Their next strike was to happen there." "What?" "Yes, on Thursday. Remember Sweet Reward?" "Ah," Raj mused and then added, "Halwai." "Exactly," Sandy confirmed. "Sweet shop owner, Halwai." Then, starting to jump up and down again, Sandy continued, "They were going to use the underground tunnels as their getaway route. And remember the guys we caught in the Pate area on Sunday night?" "I know they are a part of this gang," Raj nodded. "How do you know that?" It was time for Sandy to be surprised now. One of the men at the cave was the first guy who was putting up the security cameras that night, replied Raj. Ah, I see. Well, I had followed the second guy and he met the one who had attacked me yesterday. Day before, Sandy informed and then continued. So, anyways, these guys had stored the loot in the cave and were selling small pieces through a jewelry shop I found near the Independent House. Oh, so the gold jewelry that was confiscated from the cave was their previous heist? Yes, and Dad was heading a special task force working exclusively on this case. But they were facing trouble getting hold of the gang because they used nails and chili powder. How do you mean? The gang always carried a lot of nails with them. As soon as they would sense someone following them, they would throw the nails in their wake. The police van would then either meet with an accident or the policeman would be left with clearing the road after them. I see. So your deduction was true then. When they ambushed us the first time, they were really carrying the nails with them, huh? Yes. And remember the gang leader had instructed me to get Dad to ease off on the case he was working on? It was the temple theft case he was referring to. Raj nodded. And our deduction about the canteen guy was also right. He was one of the men I saw at the cave. All right. Sandy punched the air triumphantly. So, all the small pieces of the puzzle we had been collecting over the past few days have automatically fallen into place. The boys were doing a little jig when Rajamama walked in and they stopped abruptly. As Sandy got off the bed like an obedient kid, Mama snapped. Don't show me that angel face of yours. I know what brats you two are. Sandy smiled sheepishly as Mama came close and hugged them both. Your father tells me that you have helped the police. Dad's here? The boy suddenly jumped up with excitement. He was here at 5 and just left before the nurse walked in. I had gone to see him off, only to return to catch you two dancing on the bed. The boys were still disappointed. But why did he have to go so soon? He's busy rounding up the gang and said he will meet you at home later in the day. I can go home now? Raj asked excitedly and Mama nodded. Yay! The boys were elated because Raj absolutely hated being in the hospital. Mama spoke at length. Your father tells me that you have helped the police department immensely and that you were very brave. You should have seen my brave face when I was there. Raj berated himself and Mama smiled. Bravery isn't always what one feels in one's heart. But knowing that you are scared and still choosing to act bravely, that is bravery. Taking the ownership of the consequences is what bravery actually is. Now that they had to go home, Sandy placed a call to Dev and asked him to get his full-sleeve turtleneck t-shirt for Raj. There was no way they were letting their mother see the marks and get worried. The boys then headed home and were in time for breakfast. When their mother saw them, she rushed forward to hug Raj, but Raj held out his hands to stop her from coming any closer. My face still hurts a lot, so just be careful, he warned. Dropping the idea of hugging him, she came close and observed the face wound gingerly, while Raj jumped back and forth with a lot of oohs and ahs. Their mother then administered a lot of home remedies to revive them both. She gave them jaggery in water so they would regain their strength fast and then ensured that they were fed well. She also prepared a jug full of fresh lime water for them to drink whenever they felt thirsty. The boys then went off to sleep. It was almost lunchtime when their father walked in. The boys were up by then and were watching TV. Wanna come for a ride? He asked with a twinkle in his eye. Where to? The boys immediately perked up. Tushar had been telling us a lot of things about this gang, and we were going to uncover their latest loot. Their father replied. What? The palanquin? Sandy immediately sprang up to his feet. So friends, how do you like the story so far? We are soon coming up with Hindi and Marathi subtitles too. We have begun with episode 1 and slowly we are moving forward, so please be patient with us. I know I'm also slow in publishing other videos too. Sorry about that. What can I say? I'm feeling a bit shy to come on camera. And I'm also learning video editing skills so I could bring out a variety of content to you. That's why any help on Patreon will be highly appreciated. I hope you're enjoying this story so far. Forget about my narration skills, I'm new at that too. But don't worry, I will soon become the Amitabh Bachchan of story narration. Till then, please bear with me. We are also connecting with various experts to bring them onto our channel so our lovely audience could learn about real life threats and learn how to keep themselves safe. If you're an expert on crime, psychology, life skills, threat identification and containment, an NGO working for either criminals or victims, or if you yourself were victimized and learned and grew through the experience, then please connect with us. Until next time, keep safe, save others, raise others out of darkness. Namaskar.